you could change any choice you have ever made, would you? You can always make another choice and change the course of your success. Everyone has the potency to make inspired choices. Get ready to listen, share, and experience the creativity that is you. Now, here is the host of the Inspired Choices Show, business optimization expert, Christine McIver.
Oh, wow. Thank you, everyone, for joining in tonight. I am thrilled to have you here. You are in for a one-of-a-kind show. I'm telling you, it's going to be a great, great time. I have a special guest. She's a very dear friend of mine. Megan Sillito is here with me. We're going to jump into all things Megan in just a minute. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. If you're brand new, I am Christine McIver. I'm the CEO of the Inspired Choices Network. I'm a business optimization expert and a global authority expert. So if content is king, distribution is queen, and I am the queen of distribution. If you are looking to take your expertise to the world, in 90 days, we will have you across the internet. You will be a global authority, and you will do it from the comfort of what you where you like to be, all the while having a team behind you, making you look and sound fantastic. So if you're looking to elevate yourself in your area of expertise, reach out to me, Christine, at inspiredchoices.ca. All right, Megan Sillito. So tonight, Megan is going to be talking to us about healing your nervous system with money. Now, I'm going to be honest, guys, I did not dive deep into this subject and do a ton of research because I love just being really present with my guests and learning about it very organically as you do, and just allow the questions to come up as Megan begins to share. But let me tell you about Megan. I'm going to read you her official bio. She is very official, actually. Megan Sillito has been a transformative force in the coaching world for close to 30 years, guiding thousands to surpass their own expectations and craft lives filled with joy and purpose. Her unique blend of energy work, mind-body practices, and deep psychological insights opens up new realms of possibility for those ready to change their lives. Megan's passion lies in revolutionizing the way we think about and interact with money. She believes that financial well-being is about more than just numbers. It's about creativity, play, and the exchange of value. Through her innovative workshops and programs, Megan helps her clients dismantle old narratives of scarcity and embrace a life of abundance and prosperity. Her approach to money is straightforward yet profound. If the numbers in your bank account don't bring you joy, it's time to inject more creativity into your financial practices. Megan's sessions are more than just learning opportunities. They're a playground where you can explore, experiment, and manifest financial success in ways that feel authentic and exhilarating. So today, Megan and I are jumping all the way in about how we can really change things with money in our lives. And I'll tell you something, Megan she is nothing but fun. She is nothing but fun. When I first met her, I wasn't sure whether to be excited or scared. She's a little crazy. She is bang on 99.9999% of the time. And what I absolutely love about Megan is she is incredibly present with her clients. I've been in rooms with, 40, 50 people. And when she's working with someone, she is 100% present with them. And that's such a gift that you have, Megan. It's quite a blessing because you see people and you see where they're at. So I know that this is a new thing for you that you've discovered. So tell us about this new thing about that heal your nervous system with money.
Yeah.
Where did that come from, girl?
What? Well, you probably know that my original training now 3 decades ago was in rapid eye therapy, which is a holistic trauma release process. And I learned so much about the brain, so much about neural pathways, so much before it ever became a thing. Like I bless my lucky cards that was my original training, because it just gave me so much awareness, and learning what trauma was and how to work with it and all the things. Well, of course, I got super, I love learning. And so I got into the coaching industry, and I got into genius work and magic. And because I realized that it wasn't enough to release trauma, that people, if they freed up their energy, if they didn't have a place to go with it, then they go create more crap. And so I'm very unique in the industry in that I have this background that would be considered more therapeutic, but also I would say more scientific in a way of understanding trauma, because we all have it. Some of us have more worser. I'm an English major, like really, that's the funny thing about that, because I really am. But anyway, story for another time. What I realized is that that everybody, anything that's stuck, anything that's not moving, you have some kind of stuck emotional experience, maybe considered trauma, maybe it's just, something stuck there, right? But that they really go together. And so, and I've been teaching about money and having a different relationship with money for a long time, because I believe that in my heart of hearts that it's time for the spiritual people to have money. It's time for the people with heart-centered messages to be profitable. And so I've been teaching Money 20 Ways to Tuesday for about 8 years, like different 8 to 10 years, different kinds of programs. And I took my own deep dive into some nervous system work after a particularly difficult time in my life. And I realized I was kind of waking up, waiting for the other shoe to drop, that sort of thing. And as I began to heal my nervous system, I realized other places that it had played out, like this hustle and grind thing that a lot of people do, right? Where it's like they're always hustling for money. They're always exhausted. That's a trauma response. That's a fight or flight response.
Say more about that.
If you are hustling, you are pushing, you are forcing.
Okay.
You're in a mobilized fight or flight response.
And that's due to trauma.
Yes. And again, I'm going to have a wide definition here. This is not like my mommy beat me, necessarily trauma, but a lot of us came into adulthood dysregulated, and we didn't actually have anybody sit down and go, hey, you get to play with money now, and it's really cool, and this is how it works, right? We kind of got thrown out there, and we had to figure it out, right? Yes. But a lot of us came into adulthood dysregulated because of all the things we were going through in our childhoods, and then we're tossed into this world where we have to figure out money. It's sink or swim, like to survive, to eat, we have to figure out money. And then we actually, for those of us who are super creative, we tend to try to outcreate that. But the initial connection point oftentimes is dysregulated. Oh shit, what am I going to do? How am I going to make money? How am I going to pay my rent this month? How am I going to, right?
Right.
And then what happens is that gets recreated hundreds of thousands of times. Every time I go, oh, shite, like there's not enough money for my rent this month, or, oh crap, I have to pay this employee, or whatever it is.
Right.
So sometimes I've worked with people who have a ton of money, and they're in a trauma response because they're worried about losing it all the time. Right? So,
right? Trauma response then.
Yes. So here's the thing. We're either in our primal brain or we're in our power brain. So even if you want to take the T word out, primal brain is stress. Primal brain is overwhelm. Primal brain is doubt, comparison, tired, scared, like anxious, depressed, right? So that's a trauma response. So if you're like hustling,
right,
that's a trauma response. powerful brain or a power state is creativity, aliveness, intuition. It's like, oh, what would I like to create today? Right.
Mhm.
And we'd get no more brownie points for doing that in a stressed out state than in a power state. Meaning that it doesn't create more to be stressed and worried.
Right. And
Right.
I'm wondering how many times we are swinging that pendulum where we're, hey, I'm in a creative state. I'm chugging along. I'm rocking and rolling and da 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 da. And then in a millisecond, we're back over into that primal.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right. And how many times a day are we doing this?
Well, and also we go through life cycles this way. So lately, I've been working with people who have been really amazing at hustling, and then their bodies stopped working. Their bodies started shutting down. They started to be like, I don't want to do nothing. F it.
Right.
Which is actually another trauma response. It's the freeze response. So I dove deep into the polyvagal nervous system, but basically, simply, it is this. We have these three different main nerves. One is rest and digest. One is sympathetic, which is fight or flight. The other is what is part of the sympathetic nervous system, but it's called the dorsal nerve, which is what gets activated when we freeze or we fawn or faint. And what happens is that we can't sustain long periods of time in fight or flight without our bodies breaking down. And so the other part of the sympathetic will engage, which is the freeze. And people will stop being motivated, not want to work. I'm too tired.
Then they go into the criticizing themselves and putting themselves down and
inaction.
But that just that massive criticizing is so intense.
Mm-hmm.
So then they push themselves. I know this very clearly because I've done it. And they push themselves even harder.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so you're back in, now you're pushing not one, but two elephants up a hill. And you crash and burn. That's what happened with me when I got shingles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. And my body said, enough.
Mm-hmm.
Enough.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing this on many levels.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to be the complete shutdown, but we're doing this on many, many levels.
Yes. 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 And then we add to it that we have, we were pickled, most of us, in a very fearful environment. Like we were taught to be afraid. We were taught, we regulated, we entrained to our parents' nervous systems who were also dysregulated and scared about money. And so we learned this trauma response. Like I've worked with hundreds of clients who they can feel in their bodies what would happen when their mom and dad would talk about money.
Right. Megan, we have got a lot more to cover, but guess what? It's time for us to do a little commercial break.
Okay.
And we will come back. We'll definitely pick it up right where we got it. I got a question for you or something that I read today that was like, this is probably going to connect with something Megan's going to share tonight. So everybody stay tuned. When we get back, we're going to continue this conversation about heal your nervous system with money with the none other than Megan Sillito. And you're listening to Inspired Choices on the Inspired Choices Network. If you're joining us live and you have questions, definitely join us in the chat room and drop your questions in there and we will get those to Megan before the show is done. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you in just a minute.
Many of us make choices based on our past experiences or based on what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join the Inspired Choices show with business optimization expert Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know, but may not choose, that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back. She brings all her expertise to every show. Are you ready to create and live the life you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Inspired Choices Show with business optimization expert Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
I feel like I have to talk really, really fast because I feel like there's so much to share. If you're just joining us, I have Megan Sillito with me. Megan is a gifted healer. She is brilliant with people. She's brilliant with psychology, and she has tapped into things around money and how they've really stopped us. For years, she's been working at this. And Megan, by the way, along with her partner, Suzanne Sillito, no,
Suzanne, you gave her my last name. She's
did.
So happy with you.
Megan and Suzanne had a show on the network for quite some time. It was called Love, Life, and All Things Weird. And there was nothing weird about it except the two of them laughing and carrying on. They started back in June of 2015 and were such a gift to have with us. And I'm so happy. They were in a class. We were all in a class, and they tapped me on the shoulder and they said, "Hey, are you the person with the radio show?" And it's been history ever since. It's been fabulous. Okay, so Megan, you were talking to us about the trauma that we've been going through and how we play out our parents' trauma. Now, there was something, Karen Leslie, who has a show on the network, she had posted today about her show that what we choose today I hope I don't screw this up, can actually impact 7 generations.
Yes.
It can impact 7 generations. So what we choose going forward can positively or negatively impact 7 generations in front of us. So that would equate that 7 generations behind us is also impacting us today.
Yes. Yes.
And is that what we get locked into our nervous system?
Yes. Yes. Yes, you got it. And it's so profound. It really is. Like, in preparation for this program I have coming up, which is a nervous system reset for money, I've been doing a deep dive into my own family history around money. And there is some shady stuff. There's some dark stuff going on back there. Kill or be killed. And if you look at the history on our planet, 7 generations ago, that's what life was a lot like on this planet. Is like, I'm either going to be killed or I'm going to kill you. And that was survival. And there was so much of that. People got killed for money so much. And it's really deep in our systems. And so when we, in modern day, we're not running from tigers. The marauders aren't coming for the most part, unless you live in certain parts of the world. And thank goodness we don't live there. But so when I'm looking at my bank account and I'm seeing that I have less than I thought, let's say, and my body has this freeze or scared response to it, it's kicking up that stuff.
You mean the stuff from the other generations?
Yeah. That's partly why it's like, we know that it's not life or death, essentially. Like you and I, and probably everybody listening, whatever we've been through, we figured out how to eat and we figured out how to put a roof over our heads. Even if we lived in a car for a week, we figured it out. Like, it's not, at this day and age, it's not life or death, but that's where our body goes because it has that history, the genetic history. Okay. So that is that is relevant, very relevant to this conversation. So then, you said, well, Megan, how did you get to this? It's like, I've been noticing that, when I work with my clients one-on-one, I can really see what's going on. And I can really, like, I help people really go into the $1 million, right, range, high millions. I can help them get unstuck. I've helped so many people that were on the verge of bankruptcy just go whoop. But when I do classes, and this is also true in the industry, like it's somewhere like in mindset classes and stuff, is something like 1.5% actually get results. And that's who's throwing the testimonials out and stuff like that, right?
Right.
But I would say in my classes, I would say I would have a little bit higher, like maybe 30%, because I'm very aware of, I don't do like surface level panacea type
No.
pills. I go deep, and because that's where the transformation is. And so but then I was like, why is it that there's a certain percentage of people, I call it the walking wounded of the workshop world, they go from class to class to class and nothing much changes. Like, what's going on there? And I've asked that for years, but when I started deep into the nervous system work, I got my answer, because I was like, oh, when people are dysregulated, their energy is pushing everything out. That's what happens. Our nervous system goes into isolation. It pushes away. So guess what? I'm looking, I want money, I want to make connections, I want to have partnerships, pushing it all away. People are feeling the fear, they're reacting to it, right? But in addition to that, I actually can't take in information. If you're dysregulated and you're sitting in a classroom, you actually can't hear what they're saying. You can't integrate what they're saying. They did these studies in therapeutic environments where a client would come in and the therapist was noticing that the client wasn't following through, wasn't doing homework, right? And they did this nervous system reset on them, and they were like literally 100% more cognitive, doing the stuff. Literally, when your nervous system is dysregulated, you cannot take in new information. That's one of the things that happens. Your system shuts down.
Yeah.
So we've got all these people that are dysregulated going from classroom to classroom to classroom, and they can't actually grok or take in what's happening. And
Right.
so they're not, because I've been like, I want 100% success right now. I'm a little lofty, but like I want everybody to win. And I have been wondering about this forever. And mainstream is saying mindset, mindset, mindset. But your neurobiology, your beliefs are getting stored in your nervous system, not just your brain. And it's when you freeze, that's all in there, right? Your body's locking up. All those beliefs are there. And so we have to find ways to not just regulate the nervous system, but to clear that energy. I would say it's called frozen matter. Every time we freeze, there's like a freezing of the energy, and it's stuck there, and then until it gets triggered forward again, right?
Right.
So we have to do more than regulate the nervous system. We have to mobilize the stuck energy so that we can actually come back into creativity. We can look at money with possibility.
And when we have this stuck energy in our nervous system, energetically, what are we sending out to the world?
We're saying, stay away, stay away, stay away. That's what the fear signal does.
So good luck with law of attraction.
Yeah. Yeah. You're actually working against the law of attraction. You may be doing your affirmations every morning, but your nervous system is saying, get away.
Right.
We're not.
Right. So there's lots of pieces that we've been discovering over years of things, affirmations, being calm, doing our meditations. But if we're not aware of what is stuck in our nervous system, all of that is really not going to work in our favor at all.
It's really, well, that's why. So in my own life, I had this boom and bust thing going on, right? Because people who are highly creative, highly resourceful, we figure out a way to like, pull it out of the sky, whatever. But then we can't sustain it.
Right.
Because our nervous systems can't sustain high levels of energy. So we'll bring down, we'll get something will trigger, we'll come back down to 0 point again. and do it over and over again. So you can kind of get by with money with a dysregulated nervous system, but you can't build sustainable wealth. It just it won't you won't be able to, right?
Yeah.
And it's fascinating to me how when people are dysregulated, it doesn't matter how much money they have. They're going to lose it all tomorrow. It's crazy. We think that it's having the money is the solution. It's not. It's what we've made money be, and that's belief system, but it's also nervous system. And if you don't clear the nervous system, you can't really do the belief work, because how can you believe if your nervous system is jacked up? I am abundant. It's all fine. And your nervous system is like, head for the hills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a contradiction.
Yeah.
And so you discovered this how long ago? When did this start really bubbling up? Was it a year or two?
Well, I started working my nervous system really directly about a year ago. And I started like realizing I was dysregulated, but I didn't see the money piece until about 6 months ago. And I actually did this beautiful program, Nervous System Reset. And I hear from people still every day about the fog is cleared. I feel like I can breathe. All of this, but it was that group actually. I was starting to play with it and see it. I was starting to talk about it, and they were like, "Will you do another program with nervous system for money?" Because it is some of the same stuff, but there's something particular to money where we freeze around it, and that freeze accumulates, and we have to mobilize that.
Right. Well, money is such a big part, and it was such like 7 generations. For the last 7 generations, it's been about survival.
Yes.
Like my parents, my dad was born in 1917 and my mom 1924. They went through the Depression and the Second World War, and it was completely about survival, right? And of course, their parents, it was about survival. So that is obviously deep in my nervous system without really super realizing how deep it is. And that's just 2 generations back.
Yes.
This is wild. We've got some comments in the chat room I want to share with you. Janet says 7 generations ago, I must have been a Jewish princess who didn't give a shit about money, about where money came from. I love that, Janet. Karen says, I can completely see this with a couple of really struggling clients. They cannot hold on to what is being said. I think that's a very important point that you've made, that when we're talking to clients, it's a clue. If we see them not holding on to or not following through, it's a clue there's something deeper going on. Janet also says, do you simply assume that you need deregulation? Is it ever too late? I would say it's never too late.
No. Like, I've done pretty well for myself, but I was really over the boom and bust dealio, and I would say that when I started really trying to heal my nervous system, I would say that what I learned is I never got regulated. Like, as I was one of those people who could kind of outcreate a lot of my trauma, and like I was creative enough to spin the dials. But I would say that my nervous system has been dysregulated since I was in the womb, because of my birth.
I know your birth story, the whole history that you have. It makes total sense. I mean, I can look at my family history and I can see this exact same thing, that, more than likely my nervous system is deregulated as well. Sandy says, I feel this doesn't just speak to money. It's all trauma gets stuck and it's in the nervous system. I completely agree with that as well. Well, I guess we're up to another break, and I know you have tons more to share. I know you just are talking so fast, but yet we need more time. So everybody stick around. We are not going to be long. We'll be back with Megan. We are going to hear more, and she actually has something to share with all of the listeners tonight. So we'll be doing that after we come back from the break. You're listening to Inspired Choices. I'm your host, Christine McIver, with my fabulous guest, Megan Sillito, here on the Inspired Choices show. Stick around, everybody. We'll be right back.
Many of us make choices based on our past experiences or based on what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join the Inspired Choices show with business optimization expert Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know, but may not choose, that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back. She brings all her expertise to every show. Are you ready to create and live the life you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Inspired Choices Show with business optimization expert Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine at InspiredChoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
All right. I'm so glad that we are back. We are here with Megan Sillito. We are talking all about money. We're talking about nervous system. We're talking about how to change this and the so many generations that we've been impacted by, and how most people's nervous systems are deregulated, impacting their financial sustainability. I love, Megan, how you said we can get creative, and we do, because many of us, I know many people get very creative, and all of a sudden they have this influx of success and money comes in, and then it's like everything dries up. It's like the desert. And then they go through this huge push, and they get an influx, and then back to the desert.
Yes.
That's not fun.
No, it's not. We keep bringing ourselves back to 0 point because that's what we know.
I don't like that. That's what we know.
No.
That's not fun.
No.
So how do we begin to change this, Megan?
I want to answer that, and I want to finish answering the gal that says, is it ever too late?
Okay.
I would say for close to 58 years of my life, I've woken up in a fear brain, worried about what didn't I do yesterday, worried about if I did something wrong, worried about like weird stuff, like really weird stuff. And what I had my toolkit. So I would step around and through the shit to show up every day, but I would start out in this really dysregulated, what I know now is dysregulation. Like I tried to troubleshoot it for years, and it never worked until I got to the nervous system, right? But I wake up looking forward. I wake up thinking about, like truly thinking about possibilities. And for the first time in my entire life, and I'm 59 years old, so it really is never too late. Like with a couple months of real focus on your nervous system, so much can change. And the person that asked about health, that's huge. Like cholesterol, liver, hormone problems, adrenal problems. That's all a function of dysregulate. A lot of it is sourced in dysregulation. So because what's happening is the energy is going to our extremities so that we can survive, fight or flight. I got to punch or I got to run. And so it leaves the organs. And so the organs don't have the energy and the nutrients to function properly. So they start shutting down. So the money thing is part of that. The money thing, we start shutting down. We start going through a deathing process because we're freezing. Our body's going, because the freeze response in nature is a deathing response. We're playing dead so that the animal lets go of us and thinks we're bad meat, right? And so there's this way where we start shutting down, shutting down, shutting down. And you asked me about, what are some simple ways or how can we begin to do this? Now, there's a lot of things out there now. Like you could go to Amazon and grab a book on 30 things to do for your nervous system. I would suggest doing something, if you know you're super dysregulated, doing something a little bit more comprehensive rather than just going, oh, what's this? Because I found, like everything else, there's some really good stuff and there's some really meh. Because of my history and trauma, I'm able to discern what the stuff is that really, really works and really works to change it. But I think the basic thing, like even if you did a meditation every day and a breath meditation specifically, because I find that some people can drop into a meditative state and be fine and come out and their nervous system's right back to what it was. When you do some of the slower breathing stuff, you literally change your nervous system to that parasympathetic, to that rest and digest. And so adding breath to meditation is really, really important to help your nervous system discharge the energy that's been building up inside of it. But your biggest ally is awareness. So the simple thing I said earlier about we're either in primal brain or we're in a power state. Where are you right now? Right? Like you said this earlier, like we go back and forth dozens of times a day, right?
Yes.
So if I can recognize when I'm in a primal state and not push through it or go to bed, put the covers over my head. So the push through is the fight or flight. The covers over my head is freeze. It's the freeze fawn move, right? So if I'm like, oh, I'm in primal brain. First of all, nothing that you're thinking is true in that space.
Say that again. That's so good.
Nothing you're thinking is true when you're in that state.
When you're in the primal brain.
Yeah. Because it's literally designed like a scary movie to make you aware of all the bad things that might be happening. That might be because it doesn't know the difference between that my bank account's a little low and there's a lion chasing me. Right. And so it's trying to mobilize us, and it's doing that by exaggeration, by also that right, wrong, good, bad thing, because that's all that can happen in that place. We have to make quick decisions. If you really were in danger, you have to make quick decisions. You can't be all sitting, there's a lion coming. Let's find some creative solutions. No, you got to run your ass. You got to run your ass, or shoot or whatever. So it's not wrong. It's just, it's designed for life and death situations. It's not designed for figuring a solution out to a money problem. And so I'm not enough and I suck. It's that criticism thing you talk about.
Yeah.
You're in primal brain. None of that is true. And you'll know it because when you flip back over to the power side of yourself, it's like, oh, I'm okay. I'm doing all right. It's like you can go to bed like scared of the monsters in the morning, be just fine. Why? Because you're actually in a different part of your brain that can actually see the truth. So awareness is king. If you notice that you're in primal brain, I'm going to share a breathing technique that you can do that will literally take you out very quickly. And I would also add movement of any kind, whether it's yoga or qigong or running around the block or go sitting underneath a tree and do this breath. As soon as you're back into that state of rest and digest or a power state, then you can go, okay, all right, well, what choices do I have here? What else can I create that I maybe wasn't seeing in that other place, right? So then we can begin to ask ourselves some creative questions. Like, what can I create here? What can I choose here? Like, then we're moving over to that creative side of our brain. Super simple. But guess what? Most of the people that are doing affirmations or they're doing questions, right? Or maybe both, they're doing it from dysregulation.
Right.
So they're working against themselves. They're trying to throw out this positive thing all the while scared and basically canceling it out energetically.
Right.
And there's no true curiosity, right? It's like,
no, okay, they've got their hands behind their back, their fingers are crossed, and they're praying to God that this thing works finally. Is this the
Yes.
thing that's going to finally work?
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. So when you actually wait until you do the physiology, that's what I love about like being alive right now is science, spirituality, and physiology, neurobiology are coming together. And
Nice.
they're it's like really cool how all those pieces are coming to bear. So get myself regulated, then go, okay, what choice can I make? Like Inspired Choices Network. What choices do I have? And
Mhm.
begin to mobilize yourself in some kind of useful direction, right? And even if you just did that one thing, if you just committed, like, I'm going to shift out of primal brain every time I notice, and then I'm going to ask a better question, then you would start to shift your nervous system. Because any amount of time that you spend dysregulated, you literally, you are taking up your bandwidth with fear.
Right.
And that's what that is the signal you're putting out.
Right. I'm laughing because I I've just started to take some hormone stuff, right? And I had to pay attention to how many hot flashes I was having.
Mm.
And so, if you're a woman that's had hot flashes, you just want to forget them. You don't want to remember them. But I needed to remember. So my
Mm-hmm.
body just started yelling out, hot flash! Like, just, there's somebody around, but I'm yelling out, hot flash! Because then I remember basically how many times I yelled this. So I'm thinking I should just start primal brain, primal brain,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Primal.
Primal,
Primal.
primal.
Primal. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's okay. We're going to have a break in a little bit, but
Yeah.
I want to share with everyone the gift that you have for everyone. And then
Yes.
I want to also share the program that you're offering. I know you
Mm-hmm.
still got an early bird opportunity for
Yep.
people. So go ahead and tell everybody about this free gift that you have.
Yes. So, as I said, what happens when we're dysregulated is our energy and life force comes in, it contracts.
Okay.
Okay. Every living thing, be it an animal, be it a tree, be it a human, we connect our resources through our energetic field. Like trees are pulling nutrients from the earth. So when we're collapsed, we're not connecting to the resources that are all around us. We're not connecting to people. We're not connecting to possibilities, tribe, opportunities. We're like, oh, so this exercise is called expanding your zone of wealth. Your wealth. What did I don't remember
Your
what I
wealth
called it.
zone. Your wealth
Yeah,
zone.
yeah. So it's a practice of actually strengthening the muscle of expanding your energy back out and putting your spidey senses out so you can start to, like the tree roots, pull in the water, pull in the resources, pull in the connectivity
Nice.
with your surroundings so that you can start connecting again with the resources that are available to you.
I love that. I love that. So I've dropped a link in the chat room if you're here. This is a 17-minute guided visualization for expanding awareness to tap into abundant resources for thriving. Also, if you're listening to this in the replay, it's also in all of the replay notes. So you can definitely grab that. Don't waste time. Go grab that. This will immediately begin to contribute to. We're going to go for break in just a minute, Megan. What is the name of the program that you've put together that you're putting out there?
Yes, it's called the Nervous System Reset for Money.
That's pretty straightforward.
I know
Yeah.
it wasn't fancy. I just wanted to say what it was because this is a conversation. And so I just kind of want to that's what it is.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we will have a link for that for everyone in just a little bit. Do stay tuned. It'll also be in the notes. We're going to go for our last break. When we come back, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat room. We'll wrap up with Megan. Of course, if you want to connect with Megan, her name is spelled Megan, Megan, Sillito, because I know that last name, Sillito. Sorry, Suzanne. And Her website is megansillito.com. Very straightforward, very, very easy. And of course, if you're on the Inspired Choices Network, you can search her name. She's been here lots and lots, and she has this fabulous show that the content is still enjoyed by many people all around the world. So everyone, stay tuned. You're listening to Inspired Choices. I'm your host, Christine McIver, with my wonderful guest, Megan Sillito. We'll be right back.
Mm-hmm.
Many of us make choices based on our past experiences or based on what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join the Inspired Choices show with business optimization expert Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know, but may not choose, that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back. She brings all her expertise to every show. Are you ready to create and live the life you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Inspired Choices Show with business optimization expert Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine at inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Oh my God, just having too much fun with this guest of mine, Megan Sillito. She is seriously full of a lot of brilliance and a lot of play, which is always makes difficult, challenging times much more easeful. I've had the opportunity to play with this woman in several parts of the world, and I'm sure there's more in our future as well. But I'm so grateful for you being here tonight, Megan. Everything that you have shared with us, I mean, all of the guests in the chat room are saying the same thing. They're blown away. They're absolutely blown away by what you're saying. And I kind of feel like a lot of us have had a piece here and a piece here and a piece here. Like we've had pieces to the puzzle, but we
Yeah.
didn't have all the pieces.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right. And it has made such a crazy puzzle of trying to figure it out. And then we think we've got it. And then it's back into that, large abundance, back to the desert, large abundance, back to the desert. And
Mm-hmm.
there's so many people that I speak to, and they're exhausted. They're worn out. They just are like, I've just been trying for so long and I just can't get there. I feel like what you're sharing with us is a huge, huge piece that can start to change things for people rapidly.
Yes. Yes. And even like just the amount of energy that it frees up, because it takes a lot of energy to be in dysregulation.
That's curious.
Think about it. Fight or flight is a highly mobilized state. It allows us to run faster, stronger. Excuse me. I had a rattler chase me a couple weeks ago. And I did not know I could still run that fast. Like I ran so freaking fast, right? Because that's the energy that the adrenaline produces that allows us to mobilize in a real life or death situation. Okay.
Right.
But this energy is mobilizing, but it's not being discharged.
Oh, the energy in us is mobilizing, but it's not leaving us.
Yes, because in the animal kingdom, they run it out. They shake. They move their bodies. They get that energy out of their body. right? And so if they've tested like antelopes or deers 20 minutes after they've outrun the lion, they're completely calm. There's no adrenaline in their system. There's no heart rate raise. They discharge the adrenaline because it's really toxic. The adrenaline is like diesel. It's like a dirty fuel. And but it's designed for quick bursts, right? But it's actually taking the whole system's energy to do that. So as humans, dum-dums, we're living in dysregulation. We're living in these jacked up states, and it's taking a tremendous amount of energy. So of course we're tired. We're not designed to live in that energy. Of course, we don't want to do nothing no more.
So we are continually in toxic energy because we're not displacing this.
Yes.
Oh my God. So all the wonderful water we drink and all the fruits and vegetables we eat, it can be all for naught. Like that's how we can be making ourselves sick.
Yeah, exactly. And in fact, I've worked with a few people that their functional doctor basically had them eating 3 different foods because they were reacting to everything else. But their body felt like they were starving because they couldn't have regular food. So it was actually, they were now more dysregulated. And the issue wasn't food. The issue was dysregulation. We're throwing really extreme diets at something that diets can't really help. I'm not saying we shouldn't eat healthy. I'm not saying that it doesn't help our bodies to put vibrant food in it. What I'm saying is that if you're dysregulated, your body's not absorbing and digesting that food.
We need to look at the whole part of the body, the whole part of the person, not just, don't eat so much.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, okay. So let me just die because I'm not eating so much. I'm not eating.
Right. Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Exactly.
So Megan, tell us about the course that you're offering, please.
I'm so excited about this course. I don't know, like I really see for myself, like, so I recently had a surgery, and the insurance was quite a bit more than I thought, by like 5 times. And so normally I would look at that and go, duh.
Yeah.
You know what? That's interesting. That doesn't seem right. I think maybe I'll give them a call, but not from freak out, not from I can't handle that, but just from that doesn't look right. But old Megan would have gone, like cartoons with the smoke coming out of my head, right? And so that's really a lot of what we're going to be doing. We're going to be releasing and discharging the energy that's been stuck in our nervous systems. We're going to be calming the nervous system, and then we're going to be creating a new pathway to relate to money from creativity, from possibility.
That's awesome.
From ease of creation, like really, truly.
I love that.
Like,
so when does it start, Megan?
It starts August 18th. It's a 5-week course, and I will be meeting every Sunday. I give more than what I charge. I always do. But in this particular course, to me, this is like, I have done this for myself and a few clients. I'm ready to take this and try it out in a bigger way. And everybody who I'm doing this work with is like life-changing.
I am so excited for this. I really, really am. And I'm glad I waited to hear the entirety of the explanation. This is fantastic. We have got about 30 seconds left, Megan. Again, guys, I'm going to drop the link for you to be able to join the class. We've got an early bird price. What is the price right now, Megan? Do you remember?
$247.
$247, 5 weeks. Plus, there's going to be more than just on the Sundays. I know that.
Yeah.
And again, reach out to Megan. It's megansillito.com. If you can't find her, contact me, Christine at inspiredchoices.ca. I will definitely get you in contact with her. Megan, you got to come back again. We got to talk about this again. This is a big subject.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Inspired Choices Show. Christine McIver will return next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, be willing to choose what you really desire. This is your life, making the choices that bring you all that you desire.